can we also talk about something else that's kind of irking New Yorkers, the migrant situation? Yeah. And as you know, the mayor has begged the President of the United States. The governor has begged the President of the United States. Why isn't the President of the United States listening?
Look, for me, I'm frustrated with the President's hands-off approach to the migrant crisis. It's overwhelming the city. I think 90,000 people have entered the intake system, 50,000 people remain in the city's care. You know, our country should be a land of opportunity for immigrants, for asylum seekers, but that burden has to be distributed equitably across the country. The failure of our immigration system cannot fall solely on the shoulders of New York.
What needs to be done? I mean, do they have to stop at the borders? I mean, Congressman, I mean, we're getting, and people are freaking out because they're putting migrants in Creedmoor. That's a 1,000-bed tent facility. That's going to fill up by the end of the week. We're getting 2,500 migrants a week in New York.
So I think first we need more emergency funding for New York City. The Department of Homeland Security has only appropriated $140 million, which falls catastrophically short of the $12 billion hole that the migrant crisis is likely to leave in the city budget. And second, we need work authorization. The migrants who are here want to work.
They're already working. Do you see the e-bikes outside the hotels and tents?
But not everyone has the authorization to work.
Well, I know, but they're working.
And that would be, and work authorization would enable the migrants to provide for themselves.
Why can't we say work? We're not hearing anything from the President of the United States. How much longer do we wait?
The President should issue an executive order granting work authorization. And it could be done without Congress.
So by authorizing that executive order, is that almost saying, hey, I do have a problem in my hands and I might be taking some of the blame because I'm not doing anything? Is there a politic game going on behind this as to why he might not be addressing this? Because it's not going to look good for him as he runs for re-election.
Look, I mean, I would leave those questions to the White House. I'm not going to speculate about his political motives, but most people prefer to avoid the issue of immigration because it's politically the most divisive in Washington, D.C. But the crisis is overwhelming New York, and it's unsustainable.
Do you think this could be bad for the Democrats? I was reading something in the Times where they mentioned it, and you know they love their Democrats.
For me, it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about doing what's best for the city of New York.
You're right.
Speaking about doing what's best for the city, your area, you're kind of pushing this whole thing about $10 million to small business loans, and that's a great help for people in the Bronx. What is that going to be doing to kind of transform entrepreneurs in your area?
Look, the road to the American dream is entrepreneurship and small business, but in the United States there's a severe shortage of small business lending, especially in places like the Bronx. The big banks only want to give big loans to big businesses, leaving small businesses behind. So the borough president and I, as well as a number of organizations, are establishing a $10 million fund to support small businesses in the Bronx.
And just to follow up, not just small businesses, probably women of color, because I feel like they're also underrepresented in terms of entrepreneurship.
And not only are we going to provide $10 million in federal funding, but we, the federal government, will guarantee up to 85% of the loan to generate more lending.
Well, that's good positive news. Hey, we really appreciate you being here.
Always a pleasure.
Do you know who's coming in about a half hour?
Who's coming?
Congressman George Santos.
Oh, wow.
If you...
I guess you let anyone come. The bar's pretty low here.
Well, he is in your Congress, isn't he?
Yeah, well,
Ouch.
Not all members of Congress are created equal.
He's in your House of Congress.
Not all members of Congress are created equal, but I wish him well in his federal prosecution. So,
is that what you would you, if you had a chance to say something to him in the halls of Good Day New York? Is that what you would say?
I mean, he should resign. He has no credibility with his constituents, no credibility with his colleagues. His ability to govern has collapsed, and if he had any decency and integrity, he would resign.
The Santos Act, what's going on with that?
Look, we hope to pass it.
And what does it stand for quickly?
Stop another non-truthful office seeker. So,
but, you know,
so that will be his legacy in the...
listen, he's in his own league, but politicians have always been kind of clouded in deception.
Look, it's one thing to lie, which is wrong. It is something else to invent a whole new existence. And he has lied about every aspect of his life. And his lies are so egregious that even Speaker McCarthy does not want him to run for re-election. And just about every New York Republican has called on him to resign. His own party.
He doesn't like to listen to that, right?
He's the victim of a witch hunt, as he claims. So.
We have so much to talk. Come back again, would you?
Of course, absolutely. If invited, I will come.
Okay, Congressman Ritchie Torres, thank you. Good luck to everybody in the Bronx. We appreciate you being here.
Take care.